Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Masters of Data. I'm Adam White. I have with me David Gervin and Zoe Hawkins. Hello.
Hello,
Good,
hello.
good to see you
Hello.
both.
I
This week, we are talking about governing AI in the age of agentic systems and model context protocol.
You read that out loud.
I did read that out loud. Yeah, I had to. I had to. We're in the part of the day where my memory capacity is short. But David, so you wrote a blog. That's what
A
this
white
whole a
paper.
white oh excuse me.
It's
It's
very
more than a
formal.
blog, a
it
white
started
paper.
with a blog.
Yeah. But I think MCP is something that people get confused about a little bit. Model context protocol, model control plane, kind of like, like just kind of from a high level, tell us what that is, model context protocol. Why do people need to know it?
Yeah. So Model Context Protocol is a standardization of a way that agents can basically communicate and do tool calls.
Hmm.
So think of it just like a tool server and it's standardized. So a bunch of APIs and then the agents can come in and pick what they need to do and go out. So Anthropic designed that. It was one of their little research projects. Um, it's been out for a while and it's obviously being adapted really quickly. I mean, I'd say every single big company that we talk to and partner with and do stuff with is building an MCP. We have ours, that's coming out soon, that's already running.
You and
So,
I were on a conversation this morning actually with another technology company, and what's cool about it, I asked the question like I didn't know what it was, but I just wanted you to talk about it. But uh, from an integration standpoint, like company to company, software company to software company, it's like it's always been APIs, and now it's fun to have conversations about like, do you have an MCP server? How
yeah.
might we connect those? What additional cool stuff does that unlock from a value perspective? And just, yeah, it's a fun new world.
And I swear maybe David, I stole this from you, so I'm sorry if I'm plagiarizing your thoughts, but you the one who described MCP as APIs for agents? Like, was that your
I,
thinking
I,
that I
I don't
stole?
I don't know if it's definitely something I've said. I've had enough concussions that I don't know if I invented it.
Okay. But I mean, it is just a helpful way for me to think about it because, like, when I was hearing about MCP servers and I see it doing cool stuff, people who have seen earlier episodes of this, like when we showed our MCP, capabilities, I was oohing and ahhing like a weirdo. But it is very ooh and ah worthy. Like, it's really
Yeah.
cool to think about how this can work in the same way that like APIs were kind of ooh and ah worthy and still can be to an extent. So I think it is helpful to kind of like frame it that way in my head.
Yeah, and I think there's always going to be a place for that kind of stuff. I do think it's going to be a disruptor. I have a feeling it's going to morph pretty quickly. We're already seeing some like changes in MCP protocol and stuff like that, but like, things that were like a huge selling point, federated search or data pipeline or a lot of this stuff might not be as important soon, which is what I'm betting on. So,
I'm just going to point out you said MCP protocol, which reminds me of when people say ATM machines.
I
So
know,
I'm
I
sorry.
know.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be that person because I can
I
be. But speaking of words, because you know what, that's what I love so much. White paper, normally we don't really do a lot of stuff that's like PDF-y
Yeah.
downloadable content because we put everything just kind of up, but like a white paper is a little different. It's like a more formal delivery mechanism. So tell us why we needed a white paper on this.
Well, as usual, I'm the most illiterate person on the marketing team.
Or not.
So I also have to fight for things like white papers because it wasn't a norm here. But we're a security company. The security companies do research and then we give stuff away. White papers are, how I can kind of give back to, the community that made me and has given me a bunch of, places to speak over the years and taught me things throughout my career. So I really appreciate white papers. I don't necessarily appreciate the ones that don't have any value in them and they're just a complete
A
marketing
glorified
campaign.
a glorified ebook.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would never write
Uh,
one of those. Yeah.
it,
Mm-mm.
that's why like I made this one. It's not super deep, but it gives you a really good roadmap on like how to tackle a problem. I'll have some much deeper ones coming out later, but that's to me, that's what security companies do. We are
Yeah.
researching problems that are either bleeding edge or they're not even in the like horizon yet. And from that, we find out interesting things. And there's things that we're going to give to our company that we're working for, obviously, so the company makes money. But then there's things that we can share with the community to help everybody. Um, I think kind of threat research and threat modeling, and that's kind of in my peer view. So if it's something I can share with someone that will help them from making all the mistakes I have, then sweet.
So speaking of research, David, like how did you kind of go about this one? Like what,
Yeah.
there's always a component of this where you have to, educate yourself, to a degree before you write about, you kind of know what you know, but to articulate a thought fully, like you need to kind of round out your understanding. And so like talk to us about that process of like building the research for this.
So mine came from a couple of things. So I was one of the first people to hack the um the guardrails of ChatGPT 3. And I did a couple of conference talks on that. And ever since then I've been kind of pressure testing AI stuff. Um
I hear you say prompt injection a lot.
I do say prompt
I
injection a
do.
lot.
I've heard that too. Just
Not
saying.
not 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 too much. I'm not trying to make you self-conscious.
Yeah, no, you're not like one of those like uncles at a family dinner that tells the same story
It
every time, but
Right.
it's
just,
because I'm basic. Like when I
Yeah.
was an AppSec pen tester, the only thing I was good at was Burp Suite and SQL injections. So prompt injections are just SQL injections for AI.
Yeah.
So I act like I'm cool, but I do the same shit for the last 10 years. And I'm just a basic guy. But yeah, so it led from like kind of that, and then I'm always trying to figure out what's next and what got pushed to market poorly.
Hmm.
I feel like that's
Before
why,
it should have.
yeah, that's like everything doesn't get thought through because most things are made by a product team that's not necessarily security focused. They're trying to get a product to market that's a feature that they can sell with a SKU, and that's just how the world works, right? So I've been watching kind of how things were shifting, and then when Anthropic released its research on MCP, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I built one. And then I started playing with it a little bit, and then I was like, "Oh, this is very unsafe."
You're like playing with
Oh
knives,
no.
being like, maybe this isn't
Yeah.
smart. Yeah.
So, yeah, so I really started sitting down and trying to figure out how do we make MCP safe because I really believed in the project. And I started writing about it a little bit. But while I was writing about blogs and talking about it with other peers, I did like I had a keynote, an AI keynote where I talked about kind of the fatalist viewpoint of AI and how we have to like handle a few things. Then I was like, I need to actually build this. So that's where the model control plane, which is not, I did not invent model control planes. They've been a philosophy and slash thing in security. Um, but I realized that with like a dynamic autonomy governance mindset, which is what my patent was in, um, you can use a model control plane to make everything safe for your MCP. And yes, I did though. I did not invent a lot of things, but MoCop was my invention. So because I wrote a blog and I called it MCP and MCP2, which was the model control plane was MCP2, and then that got super confusing for people. And then people were writing me internally at our company going, "What the hell is this?" And then I was like, I need a different differentiator name, so MoCop.
We can't have all the same acronyms.
I
We
know
can't.
they're so
It's
annoying.
already alphabet soup, I swear.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that just kind of led down that path. And I just published my patent, 82 pages of hate or love, whichever way you want to look at it, for dynamic autonomy governance. And all that led up to kind of how I design a governance blueprint for AI. So it's not just about that, it's about how you implement everything. And that's just from years of being a security architect.
And is it intended to be, I mean, nothing is, I guess, directly a how-to because environments are different, but I mean, it is a bit of a roadmap or things to consider at least. Like if you're going down this path, you need to know these things.
Yeah, to Zoe's dismay, I have 12 pillars. Because, like I said, I'm illiterate and don't write well. And then they come
I
back
think
and
you
fix
write too
everything.
well, too
Yeah.
well.
Verbose
Yeah,
sometimes,
you
yeah.
are building the Acropolis of pillars. It is
Yeah.
amazing.
So security people have to have a holistic approach to their programs. Everybody has a different risk appetite for their business. Everybody has different, you know, priorities and all this kind of stuff. Like, so I can't go out there and be like, this is how you do AI governance, because it's not going to work for everybody. But what I did is I broke it down into pillars, and then I also did like an implementation roadmap of like what you should hit first. And these are very light level because honestly, like this could be a 45-page paper, but no one's going to read it. So I
Yeah.
wanted to do something that's like, oh, I can look at this and it's going to give me some ideas. Maybe I missed a spot when I was trying to figure out this on my own. Oh, this is how we can put controls here. This is how we get telemetry from there. Because like one of the big problems that no one was understanding is you know agents are autonomous, right? So not only they're not this like programmatic like check fail thing like we've always had. They think, they move, they're faster than humans, they can do a lot of damage quickly, which I've had my own agents erase 100,000 lines of code type of thing. So I know that they can
There a
screw stuff
back
up.
button on that?
Yeah, there is, luckily.
Control Z, Control Z
Very
it
Yeah.
good
is.
git. But in with all that kind of stuff, I realized like, oh man, like we have to figure out a way to have good security. So we have to have controls in place, we have to have governance in place, we have to have telemetry. And no one was really thinking about that when they're trying to push all this out. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to lead into in the future with Sumo from like my personal research, but also benefiting Sumo with some really cool stuff from that. And I think we'll be able to release some really cool free stuff, in the next couple of months with that as well.
Yeah, I
Nice.
find it so interesting because I think, we've compared agents to everything from toddlers to interns to
Yeah.
an army of junior employees. We kind of call it different things depending on the task at hand and how much we trust it or want to infantilize it. But there is that security piece that I think is so often overlooked that you're just like, okay, intern slash toddler, here's access to all my stuff. Go do the thing I told you to do. And, not necessarily having that security in place, I think, is super daunting.
And it's not just a security problem. Like obviously like a governance blueprint's kind of like security focused, but I'm not a security guy. Like I am, but I also care about business. I'm a huge business nerd. So when I was like doing my side of the house and my research and building model control planes, I made sure that I was looking at how do you save companies money doing this?
Mm.
Because we think of hallucinations as a security incident, and 100% they are. They also are burning up tokens.
Yeah.
MCPs are not cheap to run. And if
Mm.
you have some agent in there that has like a brain fart and then it does the same tool call 4,000 times in a row, guess what? You're paying for that.
Yeah.
So
Your
like
cogs are
those
going
are
to
some
go
of the
through
things.
the roof. Well, your cogs are going to go through the roof, like with
100%.
just, yeah.
And that's like some of the things I thought of as I was building all my research and my stuff. And this doesn't get into it as much, but some of the stuff we're going to come out with does. But it's a multi-tiered problem because just like you said, we were naming them all these things. And it's like, man, they are like the ultimate force multiplier, but at the same time they work so fast, shit hits the fan at such a fast speed, we just don't really have a way to get on top of it until like what we've been doing. So I think that part's really neat, but just that any security architect, AI architect, IT, CTO, CISO can kind of grab this and just have like oh, these are the things we need to think about. Because honestly, like a lot of people aren't thinking about it in a modern context. They're just trying to like classify it in the way that they were trained by SANS or whatever they did their like little classes on. And it's a little mix of everything, right?
Do you
Mm.
think there's an assumption of security too, David? I mean, like no, but like it's I don't know that like it's so advanced, right? It must be secure. And it's like,
It's
no, you still have to like put a lock on your door. You know, it's not.
yeah, it's so not secure. And it's like I don't want to, just say rude things, but I mean, these are products. They weren't put out to keep you safe,
Mm.
right? No one th Has anybody seen telemetry being pulled off of agents? I solved that problem in my research, but I don't see it in a single product in the market. How are you supposed to run your SIM rules for insider threats, which I consider most agents now, um, for behavioral context and all those kind of things, if there's no telemetry? You can't, right? So like you don't have EDR for your agents either. You don't have kill chains. You don't have all these kind of things. These are all like the big things I was tackling in my research. So
Just to be clear, you just called agents insider threats, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
It's
They're the
like
toddlers slash interns we let run amok inside our
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like not only are they insider threats, they're also like just really bad employees, but they're also really worth it. So it's like, but you have to treat them that way. It's like you have that one sales guy who's like, "Oh yeah, I when I fly, I have to, pay for $1,000 dinners because I'm used to that level of lifestyle." Blah 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 blah. Not like I've ever worked with these people. Um,
Clearly not. This is pure conjecture from you.
that
Hmm.
person is just burning up, funds for the company. So your agents, if they're not hitting things efficiently, they're
Yeah.
just eating cogs. And it's so yeah, they're an insider threat. They need to have telemetry coming off of them for security and observability. Why? Because of security and
Is it the
observability
same
are the
thing?
same damn
Yeah,
Oh
thing.
that's right.
no, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like we're trying. I've been on a mission to solve all these problems with my research, and I think I had gotten there. But I want to release a bunch of cool stuff on the way people can set their programs up, and they can start seeing things and using Sumo to take that telemetry in and build detection libraries and threat research and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just want to do something fun for people. Some people look at this and be like, that doesn't fit our program at all. And I feel like other people are going to look at this and be like, oh, this is a really easy way to go through this.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really fun to be working and thinking about things that are so bleeding edge, though, to the point of like architects, GRC, CISOs, like being the ones that this white paper was intended for. It's fun to talk to that audience about something that's so like in the now and able to be controlled now. That it's just fun to be on the bleeding edge of something.
Yeah, it's super fun for me too. It's also a little, I don't know, off-putting when people are like, you did this research? I don't know, like maybe I just haven't hit that point in my professional career. I just don't carry myself that way. But I've had many people that are like, wow, this is really interesting. Did you actually wrote this? I'm like,
I
dude.
will say we've also all been tainted by the like, I don't know how many things I've gotten where someone's like, I did research. And I'm like, no, you use ChatGPT's like research function where
Yeah.
you like ask Perplexity instead of Claude and you're calling it research. So I think
Yeah.
it's really cool that, you did build these things, you did do the work behind it for actual research and what research looks like to Adam's point. Like when you're at the bleeding edge, this isn't something you can read an article about. This isn't something that you can rely on other people who've done other types of work on it. Like you have to figure this out for yourself. And so it's really cool to kind of put that all out there.
Yeah, totally. I had to like actually build the environments and build the product that didn't exist yet that was in my head and test it against it and then figure out one, like how does this really help the security community and also like how does it help like vendors and partners and stuff like that because we're a business. We have to make money. How
Yeah.
does this help Sumo? How does this help our other partners? Because we're a very partner forward company. We're all the data lives, right? So does this help all the things that are coming into Sumo? So it's been kind of an interesting process. It's been a lot of sleepless nights.
I also like, I gotta say, there's, when you lay out a roadmap of what this will look like, whether it's with the pillars or kind of an implementation roadmap or any of that, I think it's always, I love a good maturity model. I love a good kind of like, any of those things. I think it helps someone kind of not feel bad about it. Like, oh no, I didn't think about, seven of these pillars. It's like, well, you thought about the rest of them. Like you're already ahead of the game in that sense. And like, yeah, these are other things to consider or ways that you could do better. But it's not like, I don't know, a shaming thing or something when you haven't thought of these things yet.
Yeah, and it's not like this is like so I gave a talk about like the reality of tech sales when I was on that side after being a practitioner for so long. And one of my things I kind of bitched about was, hey, if you're a CISO, you need to set a little bit of time on Fridays, even if people are booked out for 8 months, to hear what's going on in the industry. Let people pitch to you. And the reason is because your friends are getting older. They're not bleeding tech guys anymore. You're getting older. You're farther removed from the technology. I know, like, I'm trying to stay on top of it, but when it comes to AppSec tools, I call my buddy who's like a guy, like a consultant for one of these big companies that looks at everything. I don't try to hold on to like my stuff. So I think people need to like take a step back and realize like your job is different. Your job is controlling an organization and talking to the board and making sure business gets handled in a secure way. So when people give you like, pillars or implementation roadmap and you look at it and you're like, we have none of this. Like it's not like oh no, it's okay, cool. We have a place to start. Like, you know, nobody has a perfect security program, right? It doesn't exist. But if you're trying to improve every year, at least like you have some things you can look at. You have a person on the team, you're like, hey, you need to tackle pillar three or whatever. You need to figure out some sort of red team exercise against our agents, even if it's some automated thing, if real simple, but we have to start doing this or we're going to fall behind. Um,
Yeah.
and we don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing the research. Thank you for doing the hard work. And I'm excited. I'm glad this is out in the world and people can download it and check it out and share it amongst their friends. So I
Yeah.
think this is really, hopefully, you're making the world a better place here, David. Right here, right now with this white paper,
It
making the
really
world
feels
more secure.
Yeah, it totally. It really feels too like almost a higher ed research paper where, there's like a peer review element of it too. Like we'll have discussions about these things and refine, further to your point, David, like additional white papers where we, as we get more real world adoption and use cases, like there'll be more to say. So it's super exciting to have this foundational white paper and then, be able to build on it as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where I wanted to go because I mean I have enough information to talk forever, but no one's going to read that, right? So I wanted to do an easy how-to roadmap for governance, like where you should start, what you should be thinking about. And then, obviously like a lot of my research was in control planes. So I have a really in-depth one that's going to show all kinds of crazy stuff that's multiple pages, like it's like 12 pages long. Um, but then we're going to do some other like shorter free stuff for like we'll have really cool stuff for SOC teams on how to set up the insider threat stuff and we'll have kill chains. So for instant response or our SWAT, our SOC teams, whoever's doing that at your company. So we're going to release all that kind of stuff beginning of the year after I finish making it pretty over the Christmas holiday. But yeah, I hope this like we can just keep giving stuff. We're a security company. We want to give back. We want to do fun stuff. So
I
Definitely.
do also laugh. I mean, and this is just where my head goes of like model control plane. Control plane? Yes. I just imagine that business expression of like build the plane while you're flying it. That feels kind of fitting in this one,
It does.
Like,
Nice play on words. Yeah,
yeah,
for
right.
sure. Awesome. Well, thanks for this time, y'all. This has been a fun discussion. David, thank you for writing the white papers. I know you had a lot to do with it as
Just
well.
zhuzhed
So
it up. It's
you
all
zhuzhed it
good.
up. Yeah, plenty of
she made
content.
it so you can actually read it. I write in crayon. We've gone over this. Like
Yeah. crayon to typeface. Yeah.
Crayon to type, yes.
But the
Yeah. Yeah.
research is sound, and so the writing is sound. It's great to read. So
Indeed.
definitely suggest
Indeed.
everyone
Well,
grab it. Thank you guys. This was
yeah.
fun.
Thank you both. Thanks to our audience. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.